Social and political commentary from a Christian male perspective.
Woo! You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. So you know what we're about to do. We're going to look into and get into this Thornton Township, the Republican Party's platform. They did an interview on Ryan's Chicago's channel recently, and it was a really good interview. Excellent job, Ryan. Shout out to him. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. Actually, I think we've actually looked at him before because he had a different perspective on the Thornton Throwdown, I believe, also. So shout out to him. Excellent content creator. Check out what he's doing over there and let him know that you appreciate his work. Now, he did an interview with the Republican Party that we just reviewed their platform. Well, they sat down for like an hour or so and did a really good interview with him. And I thought it was excellent. So I said, instead of just like hypothesizing about their platform, let's look at the interview. So I'm going to bring it in. Let's bring these good folk in. All right. So this is the 4 candidates. I believe there's 6 altogether. I know there's like another trustee and there's somebody else. So this is 4 of them. This gentleman in the middle with his legs crossed is the gentleman that's running for supervisor. The young lady next to his right is the young lady who's running for trustee. And the other ones are going to introduce themselves as well. So I thought it would be good to kind of hear what they're saying, hear what their thoughts are, and let's give them a chance to tease it out. So with no further ado, let me get out of the way. Let's go.
Oh, actually, you guys look great. Okay, so hey everybody, this is Ryan with the Harvey Historical Society in Chicago Southland Politics, and we are live today. We're talking with the Thornton Township Republican slate. Not all of them are here, but a portion of them. So we're just going to have a very informal, comfortable conversation about who they are, what they bring to the table, and what they want to see in the township, as well as their thoughts and opinions on what good government would look like. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will get to them later. But yeah, to start, would you guys just want to, here, let's start. Oh, here with David, since you had the mic. Just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, tell us what brings you to the area and what brought you to run for this position.
Well, I'm David Barnes. I'm running for trustee of Thornton Township, and I'm a resident of Dalton. And what made me run for this position was seeing the chaos that's been happening the past few years that I've been out here. I've been out living in the south suburbs for 5 years now. So I've seen nothing but chaos the whole 5 years. So it prompted me to run.
Okay.
Richard Nolan. I'm running for the Thornton Township Supervisor, punch number 52, if you want change. The reason why I got involved because I didn't like the environment. I didn't like the way the meetings was not being conducted properly. And rather than complaining, I wanted to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. I think that I represent those that are sick and tired of the buffoonery and clownism that has been taking place in the Thornton Township. We are a laughingstock, not only locally, but across seas, over in Britain and other places. They're laughing about the Thornton Township. So we had to put together a team that can make a tremendous difference. And that's why I throw my hat in the ring for Thornton Township Supervisor. And let me just say this, I've been in the Thornton Township well over 40, 50 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.
Hi, everyone. I'm Keisha Richardson, candidate for trustee in Thornton Township. I've been a resident of Riverdale for 2 years, and what prompted me to run for this seat was very similar to David's, just witnessing everything that has gone on within the township since 2022. I haven't been here that long, but it was enough to prompt me to say, hey, let me give this a shot, throw my hat in the ring as well, and try to make a difference and do what is best for the township.
Oh, did you guys tell us what you do for work? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Well, we can.
But
I'll let him.
Yeah, finish and then tell us, just so people can, relate to you more and understand.
Yeah. My name is Tim DeYoung. I'm a lifelong resident of South Holland. I've been doing volunteer work for the community since I was about 9. So everything it's been involved with in the village has been really fun to do. I'm a candidate for Thornton Township Highway Commissioner. what prompted me to run was, it's time to turn the page on what we've kind of gotten used to, unfortunately, here in the Chicago Southland with the corruption in government. Professionally, I am in technology. I've been the head of IT at the South Holland Library for 25 years. So that's what I do professionally. I'll go back over there.
Well, you want to just go this way?
Yeah,
Let me just give you my quick background.
No problem.
I have over 20 years in corporate finance and banking and investments. A few specialized roles like trust accountant, trust administrator, corporate action specialist. During that time, I was very instrumental in helping that role. And I'm also a small business owner, and I've been an entrepreneur for 8 years.
Awesome.
Richard Nolan. I have a political background. For 20 years, I've been involved in community activity.
V-tester. I'm a counselor through V-tester. I'm a counselor through Illinois Department of Public Health. So community outreach, community work is what I do day to day. That's another reason why I have a passion for running.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, what happened? What happened to the screen, my guy? Yeah, is it going to stay like this? I might have to go jump. Hold on, I might have to jump and change that. That is not going to be acceptable. I do think it's interesting. So a lot of people have been saying, like, why is Keisha the main voice for the group and whatnot? And I just hearing her background, it makes perfect sense now. It makes perfect sense why she's the voice of this group, and that I don't know what happened to the video though. Why is it going sideways? I guess we can say the thing going sideways. I guess we can really say that in real time. All right, let me see. Man, that was not what I was, because I wanted it to zoom in so you could see it a little bit better, because I thought it was, but if I had to, his original is just not very zoomed in. It's just the people are extremely far off, and it's hard to see their body language, I feel. Ugh, what happened, I wonder? Okay, it looks like it doesn't stay like that. Okay, so let me just let it play. Sorry, it's sideways, y'all. Oh, there it is.
Where do you do the HIV testing? Is that somewhere in the Southland?
That's in the city and the suburbs, out in the Southland as well. Yes.
Okay.
And anyone is free of charge. Anyone who see me can reach out, and we could set up a date and time, and we could talk about it. I also connect people to mental health resources as well. That's one of the aspects that I'll be able to bring along, is the mental health aspect. I could book appointments. I have resources and referrals to different organizations, and we'll continue to work with different organizations to expand mental health.
Okay, I think they're doing a fantastic job of letting you know that, hey, we're not just some yahoos that think we don't just see a problem. We actually are qualified and have a solution. Because I see Keisha as being like the equivalent to like a Kiana. A lot of people like Kiana because she got the receipts, right? She's that money person, always got the receipts. I can see her being a very much a reflection, an example of that. So, okay, I see what y'all doing over here. Okay, let's go.
Was one that I just mentioned it because that was one thing that I've been trying to do for years, is to bring some sort of LGBT focused care clinic or something to the Southland. So that's something that, I've always wanted to see, but it hasn't happened. So, okay. Do you guys, you can keep the mic. I guess the first thing that we should talk about maybe is the culture, the negative culture of patronage, nepotism. So, if you're tuning in and you're like, well, I don't know, what does that mean? Basically, people hiring, whether friends or family or connected people for township jobs. And some of them might be what we call ghost payroll jobs. So they may not even be doing any work, but still be getting paid. Or in other cases, it's people that are being hired that they're not qualified, but because they have the connections, that's what they're getting hired for. So unfortunately, the township is not alone. A lot of governmental entities in the Southland are known for that. What's your position on it, and what would you guys do to put measures in place to make sure that we're only hiring the people that are right for the position based on qualifications, that everything's transparent, it's fair. How would you to change that?
Well, that is a part of our platform, is hiring residents of Thornton Township, but making sure that they are qualified for the employment, for the job. So to eliminate a lot of that is just making sure, first and foremost, that people are qualified for the positions, that they are residents of Thornton Township, and trying to have some type of transparency ahead of time. If you're applying for this job, that you're connected to this trustee or this supervisor, so we could decide from that point if we want you to be hired. So we could try to work on maybe an ordinance or something like that to bring a little transparency to the hiring.
Well, let me just say, I think you got to deal with the human resource director. That's where it starts at. I think it's important that we set the policy, we set the ordinance, and we work with the director over human resource to say, you know what, it's about qualifications. It's about, can you do the job? Can we check out your background, check out your resume? We have to be inclusive, but I think it comes with organizing and getting competent people in a position where they can make what's best for the Thornton Township.
You guys want
Oh, you want
say
to
anything?
chime in? Oh,
I don't think that there's any problem if you're, because the issue is nepotism. I get my cousin in or whatever like that. I don't think the problem is whether or not you hire or have hired a family member. It's whether or not they're actually qualified. So I think just make it a policy again that we're transparent in our hiring practices. I don't think everybody needs to comment on that, but I know it's a problem, and I think they have the right solution because we looked at their platform. I think they got good ideas. Let's see how it goes.
Sure, yeah. Well, it is such a, we've heard about Tiffany Henyard and the different reports and the different things that have come through investigations or FOIAs. So we know it's not rumor. We know that under Tiffany Henyard, as well as under Frank Zuccarelli, the prior supervisor, patronage, jobs, and nepotism. I mean, that was the name of the game. It was very, very, very common. So that's why I think it's it's something that we just have to talk about, because we just waste so many resources.
that is very true. So it really does go along with our platform. There's what David was speaking of was the residential requirements for the new hires. So we're not saying that we're getting rid of people who are already, who already have a position. But what that does is it also stimulates the economy. It stimulates the growth of our economy because
Saying,
I have no idea what happened there.
The human resource director, it goes back to him and or her to vet and to present to the board the this and that's available, and then we'll make a joint decision. My main thing is qualifications. Are you qualified? What is your experience? When I worked, when I was on the VP for the Board of Education, we never had a problem with nepotism. We always looked at the qualifications and we moved forward. When I was a trustee for 4 years, we never did nepotism. We hired you in the qualification. We considered trying to employ people within the community. We need, charity begins at home and goes abroad. And I think that was, important too. So we're going to move forward. And I think we got the right team. We got the right mix. If you look at all of the individuals, what do you see? You see African Americans. You see my brother down here to the right. You got Brother Carl Dombrowski on the advisory board. We have Hispanics. So when you look at our ticket, it's universal. Now, why is that important? It's important because people have cultural identity. And sometimes you got to have that multicultural team in order to address those different issues. And so what leadership does, it galvanizes, it puts people together. You get different viewpoints, different cultural viewpoints, and we're able to blend together as a family and as a whole. Thank you.
I have no idea what he was saying. I don't understand how multiculturalism plays into hiring practices and nepotism. We're just going to hire the right kind of people. We're going to have a strict policy. We're going to do great vetting. We're going to have extra hoops. We're going to be transparent. We're going to let it be up for board discussion, whatever, however you want to phrase it. I don't think it has to be, we have so many Hispanics, so many whites, so many blacks on the team. Now, granted, sure, that is a good mix, but I don't know if that really is the biggest issue, in my opinion, because I think the biggest issue is they don't have the right people in positions and roles taking care of the needs of the township. That's the biggest issue. Whether it was they didn't have the right black people in the role, the right Hispanics, whites, whatever's, I think the biggest issue was that they weren't the right people in the roles. But let's keep them going. Let's go.
Excellent. Yeah, that's good. That was something I was going to ask about too, about diversity, but I'm glad you touched on that. There is a law right now that is being proposed at the state level. I don't know the details, but saying that we should allow voters to potentially eliminate townships, and or people have called for, at the very least, reducing the size or reducing the role of the township, especially in an area like ours where there's not that much unincorporated land. It's not like in rural Illinois where they still have so many areas that are unincorporated. And I don't know if you guys noted that. I forget, it was some post on Facebook, but it was really good. And some people from downstate Illinois were actually arguing against the bill, but saying that no, because it's cheaper for a township to provide some of the services than it is a county. And I told them, I said, that might be true where you're at, but I said the waste at the township level, at least in the Chicago area, I think is more than whatever savings that they have. So I think we kind of agreed maybe it would be best just for each county to decide, or each township to decide. But yeah, just tell us what you think about that, either getting rid of the township or reducing it. How do you feel about that? Especially when people say, hey, we have overlapping services. We have PACE paratransit and transit services. They already pick up the seniors. Why do you have to pick up the seniors? Or we already have all of these food pantries. Why do you have to have one? So these are the things that oftentimes bug the taxpayers. Not saying that you have to get rid of them, but how do you guys feel about that?
Well, I want to make 2 points. First of all, a lot of this discussion came over the last couple of years, 4 years. We need to, because of the chaos. Number one, let the voters decide. Make it a voter referendum. I don't want these politicians, these jackals, to make decisions on the behalf of the masses. That's why we're in the problem that we're now, because a few people made decisions for everybody. Put it as a voter referendum and let the majority rule. And then that way there's no problems, there's no comeback. Y'all making unilateral decisions without involving the community. And that comes back down to being transparent. Put it on a referendum, let the people decide. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, you waste your time, because people are gonna vote overwhelmingly to keep the township because they're benefiting. And I think that it brings goods, services, contracts, jobs. Why would you eliminate that out of your community? That is insanity to me. Charity begins at home and it goes abroad. And I think that these services are going to be strengthened. We're going to make them more relevant, and we're going to be able to make a difference with the new team. You cannot build a new house with damaged, broken bricks. If you look at the Democrats over the last 12 years, you have what you call interlopers, which means you're not getting anything new. Every group has been with the other group. They're on the left side, then they're on the right side, then they're in the middle. So now you got three-card Molly. You're not getting anything new. So we're saying is that we're not a part of that, but we're a part of the solution. We aim to work with Democrats and independents. And I'm gonna say another thing. I'm not Tiffany Henry's uncle, and that's not her auntie.
I don't know. I never met her.
I never met her, so.
So no relation. Okay.
No relation. But so we have.
Let me wait, because he's gone a little bit he's gone a little bit off the question. You can't just roll out a referendum. Well, what's the referendum going to say? You need to say, okay, we believe that, yeah, you should get rid of the township, or maybe streamline it, or make it a little bit more functional, or limit its services so that they don't overlap. If you already have a bus service, then the township doesn't need to have a bus service. If the community already has a food pantry, the township doesn't need to have a food pantry. But if the township doesn't offer, doesn't have a mental health Well, wait, if the county doesn't offer or the towns don't have a mental health care facility, then the township can do that. I mean, that could be something else. But I don't think just saying, well, just put on a referendum and let people vote for it. Vote for what? This is what happened with the whole recall of Tiffany Henyard in Dalton. They had the bad verbiage and the judge threw it out because of verbiage. So you don't want to go ahead and do that, make a referendum and people vote for it, and then you end up getting challenged in court and get thrown out or vice versa. So I think that's it. Now, I think he makes a point here about the whole, you're playing both sides of the Democrat Party. I mean, he's making a good point. Let's see if he keeps cooking. Let's go.
They're bringing a new team with a new direction. How do you do that? You bring in a new slate. If you bring in other groups, this particular group, the regime, the cliques, now they don't represent all Democrats. I would make that clear. They don't represent all Democrats. We're talking about this particular group, this particular clique, this regime. Nobody should want that. There's some major issues that we're going to be addressing, but we want the voter to be informed. When you make that decision, you got to be able to lie in what you've done. Mm-hmm. So we put our platform out. They have not put a platform out. They do things generally. Oh, accountability, oversight. You know what I mean? Transparency. Everybody says that. Everybody says they're a good guy. Who says they're rotten and not going to bring accountability? Nobody.
Right.
When you look at our platform, now I want to encourage the Thornton Township residents in the 17 communities, read the platform. The 50-50 program, 50% of all contractual work will come out of the 17 communities. Mm-hmm. Charity begins at home and goes abroad. That stimulates your economy. Who would vote against that? So, and we want to increase that by 5 to 10% every year. So we're starting off at 50, and I think Tim said our goal is to get 100. But the main thing is that with the 50-50 contractual vendor ordinance, we will not allow people on the outside to benefit off of our tax dollars. That don't make no sense. So we put in Chicago on notice, Indiana on notice, that the gravy train with the biscuit wheels is over with. Thank you.
No, and that's good. And I want to get more into that. But before we get more into your platform, I just want to I want to allow everyone to finish as far as about what they think about either ending the township or reducing some of the services, or what your thoughts are. So I know you said, Richard, to allow that to go to the voters. Did you want to comment anything, Tim?
Yes, I think the bill that you referenced to, I think, is Senate Bill 2054. I think. Not 100% sure if that's accurate, but anyway. So eliminating townships is already a thing in Illinois. This bill would just make it easier. But like Richard said, I mean, leave it up to the voters. You can strengthen your services while making things more efficient. Like myself as a candidate for highway commissioner, I want to close down the highway department because there's no reason that townships need to maintain roads. You can offload those roads to the county DOT or the municipalities, and it's not like it's such a big quantity of stuff that it would.
Do you know about how miles? I want to say, was it like 9 miles or something?
9
roads. So
9 miles and one bridge.
Okay, so it's not that much.
One bridge, by the way, you can't even see because it's so overgrown with weeds.
But we know
it goes nowhere.
We know, according to, I think it was Diane, she's a YouTuber. She lives in Harvey, but she did a drive one day, and this is the kind of stuff that drives the taxpayers crazy, where she drove into the South Holland industrial area and found out that there were at least like 2 buildings that were township buildings there. And she's like, oh, what's this over here? Well, what's all this space used for? And I believe it's related to roads. But again, we don't really know because the public's not given access, and no one in township government traditionally they're not volunteering that information. So she was shocked to see that. It was one day she happened to be driving back there, and like, what are all these township buildings? And I believe they're all related to roads.
The whole, in my opinion, the whole highway department is redundant and could be shut down. Like right now, there's 3 taxing bodies that show up on your property tax bill that are Thornton Township. You don't need 3 taxing bodies for a township. You need 1. So.
And maybe would that so as far as reducing or basically streamlining, would that be something that the board could vote on? Let's say if you all got elected, could you vote to streamline so everything was just one budget?
Yeah, so if you want it has to be, to eliminate a tax levy has to be approved by voters.
Oh, okay.
Just the same way creating a tax levy has to be approved by voters. Now, anybody could put a resolution with the same wording on the ballot. It just wouldn't be binding. If the board approves a resolution to be brought forth to the voters as a referendum, then it's binding. So if the board approves, shutting down the road and bridge taxing levy, and the voters say yes, then it's done. Then it's gone.
But even that is a pretty radical idea. Like no one ever talks about that. They always talk about expanding services, and then.
Okay, so I'm kind of in favor of this. If they're going to come in and start reducing services or redundancy and putting it in the right place so it saves people money, I think that might be kind of a dope idea. But they've got to follow through. So I'm hoping that they've actually thought, okay, can we actually do away with the Highway Commission and just let the county take care of it? Can we, somebody ask about potholes, like how y'all gonna take care of potholes if you're not doing it? You know what I'm saying? What happens to the equipment that you have? Those kind of things like that. I hope they've done their due diligence, because again, I think it's not the worst idea I've heard, but hasn't been thought all the way fully out. I'm at least glad they're thinking. So gotta give them shout out for that.
Our taxes go up, but then my question is, are the services going up? Are we actually getting more for our money? So that right there, you're already a quote unquote radical. I mean, it doesn't sound radical to me, but it's just something we don't hear very often. So again, to be clear, we're not talking about cutting services, because the roads would be taken care of. They would be handled by other entities, but it would be saying, hey, we don't have a lot of unincorporated areas, so maybe we can reduce the township's tax burden and their responsibility. And then hopefully, like Richard was saying, focus on the services that are related to the social services, which is the core of the, which brings us to my next point. What is the, unless you guys wanted to talk about the efficiency or the size or the things about the township.
I want to kind of piggyback on, on what he just stated about the highway.
Okay, but before he does, I'm thinking back in my mind, somebody's going to end up having to pay for that. So let's say, for example, I live in the township, and let's say the amount that I pay in my taxes that goes to the Highway Commission is $10. Okay. And for that little 9-mile strip of land, right? So I guess that means like cutting vegetation, hopefully filling potholes, managing it, and of course, maintaining and keeping it in order. So that $10, let's say they cut it and they send it to, like, let the county take care of managing and maintaining and cutting down vegetation and filling potholes on this 9-mile strip. That $10 is still going to need to be gone there. I don't think you're going to actually save any money. I think you might do away with redundancy of services, but I think I think the county's going to want that $10 because it was $10 that was being used for this before. Maybe it might go down to $7 or $8.50, but I'm still thinking it might need to still be. I don't think you're going to save a lot of money on that. Now that I think about it a little bit further, but let's see what he says.
Commissioner, that's something I think that we got to get the people involved. Have a town hall meeting. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Let's get some feedback, and we'll make a joint decision as a board and as a whole. I love different ideas of diversity, because you got to be able to bring things to the table that you can talk about. But my position, and I believe the majority of the board's decision, is we want the people to get involved. We want them to say, okay, we want A, B, C, and D. We are servants of the people. So anything that we do is going to be unilaterally based on the feedback we get from the residents. So I just want to kind of push that, push that home. That they run it. They are our bosses. Mm-hmm. And if they say A, we roll with A. If they say no, we want A and we want to eliminate B, then we're operating in that fashion on the Republican level, the Democratic level, and Independent and Green Party level. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. I want to actually skip to one of our viewer questions right now. He says, Crook County is the name. I would like to hear more about Christopher Gonzalez, being that they were cut short Okay, I think that he means you guys were cut short the other day. And ulterior motive to why he appointed her 12 minutes before that deadline. Tiffany and Gonzalez have always had a work relationship, which is facts. Hi, see Christopher Gonzalez there after he appointed Tiffany. I would always see Christopher Gonzalez at Dalton after he appointed her supervisor. Yeah, and he clarified, he meant because you guys were cut short the other day.
Well, first of all, let me just say this, that it is very important that people get the facts, because a lot of people say things based on half-truths, innuendos, assumptions, and outright lies. Let's talk about the facts. He was appointed to the Fire Commission by Tiffany Henry. That's a fact. He did work at the Dalton Village Hall. That's a fact. There was a prior working relationship prior to her being nominated as the Thornton Township supervisor.
Mm.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had not heard anyone bring that up. So, okay.
And that's why the People's Choice for Change is here, because we investigate, and if I can use Jedediah, we advocate.
So I'm not certain. I'm still not convinced that just because Chris had a working relationship with the township, did he have a relationship? Well, I mean, with Dalton Village, did he have a relationship with Tiffany, which is a different thing? And again, now you can still throw shade at Chris and you can throw shade at Tiffany. I think there's enough shade to go around, so to speak. But I'm not 100% certain. I'm convinced that you've convinced me of some kind of nefarious deeds and some underdealings in that. And I asked the question the other day, well, if Chris was going to nominate Tiffany, why did he wait till the 11th hour? I mean, literally 12 minutes until the end. Why didn't he just roll out in the beginning and do it? And if you're going to say, well, he didn't want people to investigate or ask questions, okay, then why did he do it? Then you're saying that he's disingenuous and he knew that she was shady. So his regret when he went to the Lansing Journal and did his interview, I guess you're saying that was bogus. I don't know if I'm willing to throw him under the bus like that. Now, again, was he ill prepared with knowledge? I think so. Did he know all the ins and outs of what she was doing in Dalton? I don't know. But I don't know if we can say that. But then also, just because you've done work with them, a construction contract or an IT program or cutting the lawn, that doesn't mean you have a relationship with the mayor. And therefore, to ask the mayor to want the mayor to be hired in another position so you can get more access. I don't know if that would work. Because didn't he already work for the township? Wouldn't he have already been able to work those connections already, if that's what he wanted to do? So I don't know if I don't feel like that's not cooking like they think it is. I don't know if that's a good one though.
Now, so when he said he didn't know what was going on in the township, that he was blind, that's not true. She appointed him to the fire commission, and he knows this. And he did construction work on the Dalton Village Hall. What this individual wanted to do was to expand his business within the 17 municipalities. If I can do Dalton, I could do Burnham, I could do Markham, I could do Harvey, I can extend my business. So it wasn't about him choosing her as an African American. It was him to profit off her position to expand his construction business. And when he found out that was not going to happen, he became disgruntled, he became angry, and then he went over to the DOTS organization, Thornton Township Democrat organization. And then he became an active member in Dana Rita. And let me just
was Chris Gonzalez. See, I think this is not a good look. This is not the look that you really want. So if people for change in Dalton, if they asked me, I was like, I wouldn't even hang my hat on this one. No, I wouldn't even go there. You can speculate it and kind of hypothesize as much as you want. I wouldn't give a lot of airtime to it, because are you saying that he was a Republican and went and became a Democrat? Is that what I'm understanding? I think there's just too many unknowns in here to say it with a, full chested that this happened and I know this, because you don't actually know it. So I don't think that's a good look though. But I mean, they've been doing a good job, but let's stay in the pocket. You are in the pocket of, so I don't think Keisha should have ever really did that, what she did, that public comment at the most recent Thornton meeting, but I digress. I think you should stay in the pocket of we're going to try to reduce services. We want to streamline services. We want to remove redundancy. Those are some great examples. Those are excellent examples that resonate with people. Folk can understand it. If you say, hey, the bus system is overlapping, we want to make it more efficient so you can get more stops, but one bus line, people can understand that. Okay, let's go.
Let's say this. That seemed to be a reject for all outcast people. These people do not have the best interests of the Thornton Township residents. If they did, yeah, you may have a problem with some of the antics. Nobody's saying that Tiffany Henry is perfect, but just to stand in there and take the heat and just to say, okay, I'm gonna stay in the meeting, I'm not gonna walk out. Maybe we'll see how this goes. But to walk out, it just shows that, that they can't take the heat sometimes. And we can agree to disagree. Husband and wife don't agree all the time. Mother and daughter don't agree all the time, especially when she gets 16. So we can have disagreements, but still keep the family together. And I think that their situation became toxic, but he never had any good intent, because his job was to expand his business to 70 communities. He was appointed to the fire commission by Tiffany Henry, and he did work under her direction, and he got paid for doing work in Dalton. He left all of that out when he did the interview with the Lansing Journal. And I believe that Christopher Gonzalez has the DNA of Judas Ericott, the one that crucified Christ.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, everybody wants to know who that was.
Well, is that just a fancy way of saying you feel like he's a traitor to the taxpayers?
He's a traitor to the taxpayer.
Okay, I thought that because I read that too, and I was like,
right,
that's like Judas in the Bible?
Judas is the kind of person that you think is your friend.
Like a traitor, right?
You know what I mean? And he was one of the beloved disciples. He was the beloved disciples, but he spent more time talking to Pontius Pilate than he did doing doing things in the ministry. So he had to be called out. But the thing is, he found a safe haven. He found a place where he can blend in with his comrades. And that is the reason why that my sister here said that you got to get rid of all of them, because they're cut from the same cloth. Do your background, because if you think Tiffany Henry had some situation, wait till you get this group. You're really going to have a problem. And I want to say publicly, Napoleon Harris, let's debate. You've been hiding, you've been running. Everybody speaks for you, but you don't speak for yourself. I'm a grown man. I stand 10 toes down. Nobody speaks for me. We're going to have the debate. It's going to be on Page Street in Harvey. You know the church, you know the community. Let us get to rumble in the jungle. Thank you.
Okay.
Good. That was another.
Okay. I don't like the whole, don't bring biblical characters into this. I think that's really, that doesn't bolster your case. It does not make your argument strong. He could have used Caesar and Brutus. He could have used Turncoat. He could use anything else. I think that's bad business, because then you got to start bringing some analogies in there, and it's horrible, absolutely horrible. And he said some things that just don't even make sense. I don't. That was bad. However, Nolan likes to bring a lot of topics in one time. So he's talking about Chris Gonzalez. Now he's throwing shade at Napoleon Harris. Stick with one topic. Stay right there in the pocket with Chris. I don't think you should personally, I don't think you should have even done that. But at least stay there. Then go and say, hey, I want to make sure that he knows that we're going to be doing a public debate. I want y'all to know that Napoleon Harris is running for me, whatever. But it doesn't need to be tied with the same topic. Hopefully nobody else will say that kind of stuff. Let's go.
Other thing I was going to bring up too, so that's perfect. Yeah, did anybody else want to just respond to what was, when you guys were cut off the other day? Are we good? We're okay with that?
That was it. I'm not sure what else Richard wanted to say after
I don't know what else you want to say. She said.
Yeah.
I was just feeding off what she was saying.
Mm-hmm. There you go, Kirk County. There you go. They finished your answer. My next question was just going to be about core programs. So what do you think? What are the core programs, or what's the core mission of the township? What do you want to see remain, and make sure that it's funded and prioritized? So whoever wants to start.
Well, for myself, I know the township has a community relation program, And being that I'm a community health worker and I'm in communities literally every day, I would love to expand on that and just put more resources into it. As a elected official, I won't be your typical elected official. I will be out in the community. You will see me. You can talk to me about things that you could potentially want to see happen with the township, and we could work on those things together.
Okay. So mental health. Right?
Mental health.
That's what I hear from you.
Yes,
Especially
yes.
is a big thing.
Mental health is one of the biggest components coming to the south suburbs, but then just taking a little step further than mental health, we'll just go health as a whole. Being able just to access these clinics, and if a person have Medicaid or Medicare, I have access to these things, and those are resources that I would like to bring to the township for the community, for the voters. So yeah, mental health, health in general. Yeah.
Okay.
We do have a mental health department, just needs to be staffed. And this is the reason why that he's such critical to the team, because he can fill that role in aiding and guiding and making sure that it's fully staffed with qualified people that can help in the area of mental health. We do have a mental health issue, but we don't need to increase property taxes to get that job done. We just need to continue to do what we're doing, working with David, working with the professionals, and to have them to come in and to provide that service.
That's key. Taxpayers love to hear that. If you can provide good service without increasing taxes,
Right.
they love that.
So we really want to strengthen our outreach efforts to inform the residents of the township of the services that we do offer. A lot of people have no idea what services the township offers. There is rental assistance, there is childcare help, like after school programs, etc. So we have these programs. We're not ending them. We want to expand them. We want to make people aware that they even exist so that they can take advantage of them. So that's one of our goals. I know we talked about the lawn care on one of our videos for the seniors. We want to get that back up and running.
Well, I've said this before. I don't like that the township does so many of these things. Some of these things should be done by local small entrepreneurs, churches, civic organizations. I don't think that they need to be done by the local government, that you should be paying for somebody else's lawn care. Like, for example, if you're talking about lawn care for seniors, well, I'm not a senior, so therefore, effectively, I'm paying for my neighbor's lawn care. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I don't know if I'm down with that one. I would love for them to come up with plans, especially since they were talking pretty big about cutting and trimming earlier. I need you to cut and trim some of those services down and save the people money. So let's see how it goes.
We do. We want to do that. Well, we will.
Let me just say this. We're doing a 17-city village tour. I think we did Burnham, Calumet City, South Holland. So we're going to every community, walking around, getting a feel, talking to the people. We're not like everybody else. We're a different team, and we want to make sure that we're touchable, that we're relatable. So we're doing the 17-city village tour. We're doing we already done 3 cities, so we're definitely going to come to a city near you. And let me add this about the lawn care program.
Help me out, brother.
Stan Brown was just overwhelmed. He didn't have he was just overwhelmed. I just say that. What we're proposing, and I've always talked to several mayors about this prior to this, is that we want to put together a lawn care service that facilitates the 17 communities. The mayor of that particular village or city will hire 10 young people and hook them up with public works, because that's all what they do is cut grass and they trim bushes. That will strengthen and bolster his summer program. That village would be covered to take care of their seniors, and we would just take care of the invoice and do the oversight.
Okay. So in other words, the township wouldn't have to directly supervise
No.
the work. It would be the public works departments.
The public works department in each municipality that they would choose 10, and we would do the oversight. That means we would check to make sure the grass is cut, make sure everything that's being done properly and in order. So we would be the managing body over that program, but we want to be able to stimulate the economy in each municipality. So if, let's for example, let's say you city of Jones, well, the mayor of City of Jones can hire 10 people to work his summer program to cut grass, work with Public Works. Then the $25 allegedly is what they charge per lot. Then that invoice would come to the township and we will satisfy that. Everybody's covered, everybody's included, and the township coming looking out like a shining star and a guiding light. You have to have competent people that can get the job done and that can make a huge difference. And we are the team, the people's choice for change. When is the day of election?
And reach out.
Oh my gosh, I just hit rewind again.
I can extend my business. So it wasn't about him choosing her as an African American.
Sorry.
I'm originally from Harvard. I still got family.
South Holland.
And hooked them up with Public Works.
I don't know how that would work because it's only summer. I mean, grass grows in the spring and the fall. What about leaf blowing? What about snow removal? I don't know about that I thought hire a lawn care service that actually does those kinds of services. Maybe not the snow removal, but maybe they do. I'm sure they probably do. I mean, we got lawn care here in Georgia that cuts grass all year long. As long as it's not snowing or raining, they're going to be cutting your grass. So I don't know about, I want to, look, shout out to them for actually having an idea. Shout out to them for actually having a solution to a real problem. I'm not mad about that. I just don't, it needs a little bit more massaging, but you know what? It at least is a decision. It at least is a solution. Let's go.
That's all what they do is cut grass and they trim bushes. That will strengthen and bolster his summer program. That village would be covered to take care of their seniors, and we would just take care of the invoice and do the oversight.
Okay. So in other words, the township wouldn't have to directly supervise
No.
the work. It would be the Public Works departments.
The Public Works Department in each municipality that they would choose 10, and we would do the oversight. That means we would check to make sure the grass is cut, make sure everything that's being done properly and in order. So we would be the managing body over that program, but we want to be able to stimulate the economy in each municipality. So if, let's for example, let's say you city of Jones, well, the mayor of City of Jones can hire 10 people to work his summer program to cut grass, work with Public Works. Then the $25 allegedly is what they charge per lot. Then that invoice would come to the township and we will satisfy that. Everybody's covered, everybody's included, and the township coming looking out like a shining star and a guiding light. You have to have competent people that can get the job done and that can make a huge difference. And we are the team, the people's choice for change. When is the day of election?
Well, election day is April 1st,
Right.
but early voting starts Monday, March
Yes.
17th through the 31st at 4 locations, Calumet City Library, South Holland, South Suburban College, Markham Courthouse, and in Harvey at the Gloria Taylor Hall.
And Cook County, Cook County, after Richard was speaking, wanted to say facts. So he agreed with you. Or she, I don't know who that is.
Right.
Shout
And
out
let
to
me just
Cook
say
County.
this, mayors, this program is going to help your community. Nobody's talking about this because they don't have the ability to talk about it. Huh?
It's people empowerment.
People empowerment. Come on now, let's think about here. So if good leadership bring good programs, good leadership bring answers to the solution. We don't want to talk about the problem. We already know the problem.
Yeah.
The question is, what are you going to do? And this effort is a collaborative effort with the Democrats, the Independents, the Green Party, and what I call the political trinity. We got 3 into 1. That had never been done in political history
gosh,
before,
stop
but
it.
3 entities have come together as one. And we could do that with a man that had the leadership skill that I have to make a difference. And we want to be able to include everybody into what we're doing.
Did you want to mention the group, the 2 groups that you have worked with in the past?
Right.
Just to talk about your qualifications. The group that are they based in Harvey, but with the minister you mentioned?
Yeah, the Ministers Conference of South Cook County under Bishop Owens. I work with them as the coordinator of, my job was basically to get all of the political people running for candidates for various offices to come there and to be a part of the town hall meeting in conjunction with the Thornton Township Democrat organization. So there was a collaborative effort for both of these organizations to work on the benefit of the people of Thornton Township. And who all came through there through my efforts? Pritzker came through there. We sat and we talked. Bruce Rauner came through there. Karen Yarborough came through there.
Was that in Harvey or where?
Yeah, that was in Harvey,
Oh.
right off of Green Street.
That's great. I love that. That's
Yeah,
where I'm at. So
and let me say,
glad
I'm
to
from
hear that.
Harvey. I'm from Harvey. I'm originally from Harvey. I still got family in Harvey. Harvey is my home. Now I'm a little bit more seasoned than the rest of my colleagues, but
And you live in Riverdale now? Did you say?
I live in Dalton now.
Or Dalton? Okay.
Right. But I originally was in Harvey. Harvey was my home. I still got family out in Harvey. Got family and friends in Harvey. Went to Sandburg. Went to Thornton High School. I taught martial arts at the Harmon Park District. 4th degree black belt. I got, if you look at my page, I may have a couple hundred trophies. I work with the youth. So there's a lot of things that people want to know who we are. Well, we've been around.
Right, exactly. That's why I wanted you to bring it up. Also, another question. Oh, no, go ahead. Finish what you
Yeah, I
wanted to
just
say
had
about
a
the
couple
program.
of things that I wanted to quickly say. To piggyback off of Richard, as far as collaborating with the Democrat and independent organizations, that's a part of our platform. That goes under the umbrella of ensuring true transparency. So we want to collaborate and bring everybody to the table. It's not just the Republican slate that's coming up with ideas and resolutions. We're all coming to the table. We want to hear from everybody because we want every voice to be heard. That's very important.
And while you're talking here, I'll show them. This is their literature, guys. Because also, oh, perfect. Kirk County says, hey, Ryan, would they be okay with giving out emails? And Cynthia says website. So here you guys, can you see this right here? Here you go. So it looks like www.ttgop.com. And then for email, it's ttgop76@gmail.com. And then you can also find them on Facebook at the People's Choice for Change.
Yes.
As well as, I think it's Instagram, right? Instagram. And then I just wanted to show this because they do have their platform out in the card. And I have to say, I have gotten mailers from at least Napoleon Harris. I don't know if I've gotten any from Clark or from Nate Fields, but I haven't seen anyone, spell out their platform. So that is a first. And I would like to speak with all the candidates and all the slates and see what they want to do, because that is what matters. This is not a popularity contest, or it should not be.
Hold on, because I got to piggyback off of that.
Sure.
So Richard mentioned, like, we're the only ones who are coming up with solutions and who have a full platform with details. And, one of the things that I've been seeing across social media, we've been talking about our platform for a while now, and no one has really, responded, but we get a lot of backlash from the cliques. Okay, it's like, oh, we know who we're voting for. We're not, voting for you guys, et cetera, et cetera. But I always ask them, why? Wouldn't you want, even about the debate, somebody say, well, what do they need a debate for? We just had a complete fiasco in Thornton Township that everyone has witnessed. Why wouldn't you want to know what the plans were for a person who's going to be over a $70 million budget? Why wouldn't you want to know these things? Explain that to me, Thornton Township residents. That makes no sense to me. You should want to be able to ask questions. You should want to be able to want somebody who's accessible, who's not hiding, who can speak up for the people. It should be policy over party.
Right.
It should be. It's not necessarily the case, but that goes into voter literacy.
Right.
So it is important that we have a debate. I think so. I think a lot of people think so. David.
I agree with that.
Just want to say this. For any
mad at you.
Thornton Township resident, we know that we are in a Democratic stronghold. And it is taking a chance when you hear Republican, but what everyone needs to understand is we are in the same community that you're in. So we're not looking to get in here and harm ourselves as well. We want the best for the community that we reside in as well. So Don't look at it as identity politics when we say Democrat and Republican. That's why we are speaking from the heart as individuals to let everyone know that we will be accessible. You will see us at your local gas station, your local grocery store. We won't have police around us or anything like that. You can have a true conversation and we will hear you. And we will try to institute the things that you speak with us about. And if we have town halls or you come to any meeting that we're not going to close and lock the door, we're going to listen to all voters, all constituents. So this isn't about Democrat and Republican. This is more about us being residents, and we're tired of the mess as well.
I'm glad you spoke to. I was going to say that was skipping around a little bit, but I wanted to ask you that, like, knowing that we have so many Democrats here, and a lot of people have the tradition of voting Democrat, or they have trauma of the past of saying, no, I can't vote Republican because they were maybe anti-union or whatever the issue was. Yeah, and you see many people, especially those in our immigrant communities, they're very scared when they see things happening at the national level with Trump and at the Republican Party at the national level. But maybe how do you want to address that? How would you differentiate yourselves? Because certainly, a local Democrat or Republican could be very different from a state or a federal, but not everybody understands that, and a lot of people are very scared or wary. Some people love Trump, and some people love what they're seeing on the national level, but most people that I talk to around here, they're like, well, maybe we like the idea that he wants change, but we're afraid he's going to come for us next because he's come for all these groups. But how would you differentiate yourself? Because people are scared. There's a lot of upheaval right now. So they're asking, well, they're calling themselves Republicans. What does that mean? Does that mean they're going to bring good change that we want to see? Or does it mean like the Doge, like chainsaw kind of change where, they hired Elon Musk and he's just like, so how could you differentiate yourselves or respond to that?
Well, to start off, on the national level, when you look at Republicans and the popularity that is MAGA, is a difference in MAGA Republicans and local Republicans. Let's differentiate that, separate that. We are not the Republican Party of MAGA that looks to cut services and discriminate or anything like that. No, we are the local party who's affected by national politics, who's looking to keep that at bay and help our constituents, voters locally. So it is a big difference between the MAGA Republican and the local Republican and the slate that we are running under.
Well, David, talk about just quickly the importance of the local vote.
Well, the importance of the local vote, all we have to do is just look at the data and look at the numbers. The presidential election brings out in a Thornton Township, over 50% of voters, but the local election bring out maybe 15% or less. So when we look at those numbers alone, we can't really say Democrat or Republican or MAGA, anything like that. We have to look at the literacy and people understanding that on the local level, you need to vote. You are going to be more affected by politicians on your local level than your national level. So when we look at that data and those numbers fall off, we need our people to start understanding this is bigger than Democrat. This is bigger than Republican. This is about us being able to help ourselves on the local level.
I can dig it. I can dig it. And I can definitely dig the local versus national. Like, again, I think all elections need to be equally as important to all of us. But I mean, there's a reason why national elections attract more voters. But let's go.
Now, Tim, you want to say something? And let me just kind of piggyback of what he's saying. In the state of Illinois, 47% of Illinoisans voted the conservative ticket because they felt that their concerns was not at the forefront of the Democratic platform. So the people's voice should be heard. Illinois, we've elected Republican governors before. So like I said, we have to look at policy over party. And I think that that's our position. Now, no party is perfect, whether you're Democrat, Independent, Green Party, but we all striving for perfection to be better. And that's the reason why we reached out to the Thornton Democratic Organization and also to the Ministers' Conference to continue that collaboration and continue to move forward. We don't have a problem. We can sit down with anybody and work it out. We just want to bring some stability, bring a new team, and we want people to be a part of this new wave, and we can make it happen. So I look forward to working with you and for you. Thank you.
No, nothing.
I do think it's funny that every time he ends, he kind of ends like with a campaign speech, like, vote for me, punch number 62 or whatever like that. I'm looking forward to working for you. He ends with this. He does that quite often in here. Let's go.
Going along with that, Crook County said we just need to make sure that Napoleon gets his boots. Does that mean like he gets out?
Get the boots?
That's what I think that's what you mean, Crook County, right? Like he doesn't
Crook
get
County's
the job.
hilarious.
Yeah. Right. That's probably the I'm not hip with all the slang. But yeah, these are valid concerns, especially like, I'm a gay man, so you have members of the LGBT community, we have a lot of immigrants, especially Hispanic families. And you have a lot of women that have gotten fired up because of the national emphasis on anti-abortion, things like that. So people are just so like every day they're watching the news and people feel like they're attacked, even a lot of Trump fans feel that, because even though their guy's in office, they're like, well, we like him, and then these other people hate us for no reason. And there's just so much rancor out there right now. But what could you do to assure the I don't want to say like diverse populations, but I guess that's what it is. The LGBT community, the Black community, the Latino community, our immigrant community. That you're not going to be calling ICE in to grab the immigrants. You're not going to start telling people you can't have abortions. You're not going to say, well, we're Republicans in Thornton Township, so now we're anti-gay marriage. Like I don't hear those things coming from you, but I have to bring that up because that's always in the back of people's heads when they want to maybe vote for you, but they're afraid because they're like, oh, well, I'm a woman and I've had 5 abortions and I don't. Even though my mother's very religious and she thinks it's horrible, like to me, I think this is my right, and that's between me and my doctor. So that's going to stop her from voting for you because they're nervous. So how would you address that?
What is the role of the township?
Well, that would be for you guys kind of are. You said the primary role would be for the assistant.
The Thornton Township is a huge welfare social service agency.
Right.
That's what it is. We're not down in Springfield. We don't make legislation laws. Our job is to provide extended goods, services, contracts, and jobs. We are a social service agency. Now, we can respond personally of what we think, you know what I mean? But as far as the job that we're running for is to manage the Thornton Township, to continue the services, because it is a huge, large social service agency. We don't govern policies down in Springfield. We're not a municipality. That is out of our realm. Now we can respond, but I just want to kind of keep it focused on pretty much where we're at.
Right.
And we want to make sure you continue to get the seniors get their rides to the doctor. They get to the clinic. We want to make sure the aftercare program is strengthened and expanded. So we want to be able to make sure that the people in Thornton Township is a priority. Thank you.
And that's a good point. I'm glad you brought up about the seniors, because that's another thing, right? Mm-hmm. Seniors, they see Elon with the chainsaw, and I'm cutting Social Security, and those seniors are like, I vote for Republican. Even locally, it's hard for people to differentiate. There's a lot of fear there, right? They're like, are they going to try to go after my Social Security too? So that's why, even though I know Critical Smoker says, hello, thank you, Critical Smoker. Even though I don't hear you guys talking about those issues, I'm not that concerned, because I don't think you're not trying to get votes, as some Republicans will in certain places. They'll try to get votes. Right, exactly. And so I don't hear that, but we know that people vote emotionally, and they respond emotionally. So even though logically I might say, oh, well, no, I don't think that's going to be an issue for them. I don't think they're going to try to go after our seniors' rides to the doctor or their social security. But people, I mean, we have to be real, right? As humans, we tend to be motivated by emotion. So did you want to, David, you have something to say, I can tell.
Me and Keisha, we had this conversation all the time that, you know, this is an emotional election and we understand that. And to piggyback off what you were saying, first and foremost, you know, we're not exclusive and we're inclusive because you're here with us and you identify as a gay male. So we're not discriminatory and nothing like that. We're going to be working with the Latino community through our outreach, through any community that is in the South suburbs. So we're not looking to be exclusatory or discriminatory or anything like that. No, we want to be all inclusive. We are that Republican Party that is back to the people, of the people. That's why we are talking straight to the people, want to vote from the people, because we want government back to the people. And I heard what you said with the services for the seniors and what's happening on the national level with Elon and things of that nature. We're not looking to cut services. We're looking to enhance and protect. Now, we would say we're looking to protect the services. And piggybacking off of what Rich and Tim said, no, we are not of the policymakers down in Springfield that can decide who to discriminate against and things of that nature, but we can't fight against those things. So that's why we are, and we're asking for the vote from all communities, so we can stand up and be frontline warriors for all communities, not just the heterosexual community or the MAGA community, as everyone would try to bottle us up in. No, we are inclusion. We are all inclusive party. Look at the diversity on our ticket. Ryan is here speaking with us. So to just a lot of those things, the worries that come off emotional voter, we understand. We understand this is an emotional election where we are asking people to switch a party. But if you look at your community, and I'm not saying everyone community is messed up, but I'm saying some communities are. Look around at your community. Do you have anything to lose?
I'll speak up for Harvey. We don't have anything to lose in Harvey.
You see, so
we need some change.
And that's one thing that we have to stop as a community, is voting against our own interests off of our emotion. Just because we like a person or we've spoken to a person before, but when you look at your community, you've got no resources back. Everything has been taken from you. So we have to vote logically.
That is so, and I'm so glad you said that.
I can get with that. I'm a little worried about this whole inclusionary thing, because they've made a lot of hay about we're inclusive. We're going to work with this party, and that party. But those are the people that have been causing the problems. So I don't know if I really want, if you've been a bad head coach and I want to work to replace you, I don't think having your offensive line coach, who is also bad, or your special teams coach, who's also terrible, helping me with the new solutions for the team. I don't know if I'm working with that. And I understand what they're trying to say, but I don't know if that works in practicality, because they had bad ideas. This is what you're running against, their bad ideas, but you're going to have them adding their voices to the mix. I don't know how that looks, but
because, you know, we have to keep it real, as the kids say. Although I guess that's not that old anymore, or that's not that new. But for instance, just in Harvey, you know, when we would go, some of us, including myself, we would go on the Dalton Politics page and say, hey, where has Napoleon Harris been? He supposedly lives in Harvey. He has his business, has the Beggar's Pizza in Harvey. He's been our senator for all these years. He's the Thornton Township committeeman. Now he wants to run for township supervisor. But, you know, why hasn't he hasn't helped us out for years? Like, where have he been? And we found that our messages were getting deleted, and that people, including myself, were getting blocked or removed from groups because we weren't allowed to bring up those points and even, right, like you said, even ask the questions like, well, I don't know, the people that have been in power, have they improved our communities? So it's almost like we don't, and that's why I created the new Chicago Southland Politics group, and I called it Free Speech Zone, because I'm trying not to, I wanted to have at least one page where, like, I don't care if it's someone that I hate, if they want, as long as they're not lying or like hurting people, they want to post that they're running for office and they're the best thing since sliced bread, and no one else should be elected and everything. You know what I mean? They can still share, they can post, because we have so few spaces where you can actually criticize the people in power. And then it reminded me of another Facebook quote, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, but it said, if you want to know who has the power, who are you not allowed to criticize?
Okay.
So then I had to ask myself, well, who are we not allowed to criticize here? Napoleon Harris, Thaddeus Jones, like our Will Davis, our state
Yikes.
rep, certainly in Harvey.
Yikes.
Thank you, Cook County. He said, that's right, Ryan. Mayor Clark, I've been arrested for daring to question Dictator Clark in Harvey. I was just arrested Thursday in Dixmoor because I dared to show up to a public meeting questioning the 147 school board, because they've been stealing money for years and years and years. And the Hispanic families there that make up the majority, they're finally starting to find their voice. And that board is deathly afraid, because of this election, that they don't want anyone new involved. Because if anyone new comes up, like in this case, you guys would be the new kids on the block for the township, new people come along, you might find out where all the bodies are buried, as they say. So that means people are pulling out all the stops to censor, to gossip, to put in false narratives, and so I just see this happening all over for this election. But let me bring it back to this, because the reality is most of our voters in this area are Black. So, and we know most people have an allegiance, not everybody, but a lot of people like, well, my grandparents voted Democrat. You know what I mean? They were seen as the civil rights party, right? What are you going to say to your Black voters that are, there are two things, like I said, they might have a comfort coming from a Democratic background, but also remember, we said people are emotional, and like even sometimes in Harvey, most people don't think particularly highly of Napoleon when I mention his name, but we still have people who say, oh, but he grew up here and he went to high school here. And one time my cousin's friend's brother talked to him and he like helped him, or like, gave him a pizza or something. And you're like, but what does that have to do with anything? But it's this emotion, this strange, emotional, irrational thing where it's like, yeah, but he's one of us, so therefore he deserves our support. When you're trying, particularly with the Black community like that, where those family or those friend connections mean everything, how can you convince them to vote for someone that they're like, but I don't know Richard? That's the number one thing they always say to me. They're like, right. Ryan, who's Richard?
Well, if they go on the People's Choice for Change Facebook site, it gives a bio of all of us. If you go on my Facebook page, you'll see I got photos of me and playing basketball and with the team at Sandburg School. Well, I want to kind of address some things. We all come from majority of us on the board come from a Democratic background. We're really kind of like a different sheep of the family. So we're not separated. It's just that we decided to go to another venue to expand growth and development. Now, let's talk about on Napoleon Harris, football player. He got name recognition. That's pretty much how he got his fame. My thinking is, what is the service and what have you provided for the community? Previously,
I think there needs to be a lot of hay made about this. I know people are saying that Napoleon has been involved, but I've talked to people in Dalton and Thornton Townships, respectfully, in different towns, and there's a lot of people say they don't know where Napoleon is. So I think this point could be driven home, and it doesn't have to be like the Chris Gonzalez angle where you're kind of like speculating. You could just say, like, do you see Napoleon at your township meetings? Because he's going to have to come to the township meetings if he becomes supervisor. Why isn't he there now? Why is he not there now? So I do think he can make some hay out of this.
He had a problem with residency. It came out in the Chicago Tribune, and they warned you that he doesn't live here. He doesn't live in the Thornton Township. He does not live behind Beggar's Pizza in that strip mall with holes big potholes in the street. It's nothing but a flop house and a setup. The people of Thornton Township are waking up. They're not going to be played, and they're not going to be hustled. If you look at what the electoral board had, people that questioned Napoleon Harris, they sent down a subpoena because they wanted him to come to testify. All that, we ain't got to do no more talking, no more arguing. So they had the server to testify. The server said, I went to the house over in Harvey behind Beggar's Pizza, knocked on the door, went there multiple times. No Napoleon Harris. Crazy. I went to the $500,000 estate in Flossmoor, knocked on the door, went there multiple times. No Napoleon Harris. Went to Beggar's Pizza multiple times, different hours. No Napoleon Harris. We decided to say, no, let's go to Springfield. Maybe he's down there working. He went down to Springfield, talked to his colleagues. We have not seen Napoleon Harris. My question is, why haven't anybody called 911? Because the senator is missing.
He's missing. But he said right here that this is where you can find him.
Right.
It's quoted.
Right.
He says, I live in the 15th district. I have other properties throughout the state and other states as well. If you want to find me, I spend the majority of my time in Springfield or at my restaurants or my office. People in the district know where to find me.
The server couldn't find him. Now, look, this is ironic. The reason why he didn't want to be found and when it goes because he didn't want to perjure himself. That's why he avoided the subpoena. Everybody knows in the hood that if you ain't served, you ain't got to go. So his advisors told him, like New Jack City, I'm on the run, E-Money. I got to roll. I can't hang out.
No, I'm
I
on
do
the
not
run.
want to be served. So he became Ghost. And so once he became Ghost, it is what it is. Now he's back in town. Now he can be found. Now he's touchable. He's reachable. But during the electoral board hearings and the subpoena, I can't find this guy. Now, this is ironic. The attorney says, he's in Springfield. Well, if you know where he's at, Mr. So-and-so, I'm not going to say it's the law firm. Come on now. The people of Thornton Township don't get played by this con game. This is three-card Molly.
It's three-card Monty.
In Robert Taylor homes when you can live on Hollywood Boulevard. Just think now. People are waking up. We're not going for the okie doke. Come out, support the People's Choice for Change and our candidacy because he's harboring these people that not have good intent. Thank you.
And that's the thing. People want to vote based on, I know him, his celebrity, et cetera, the roles that he have, as far as his political background. And the thing is, it may not be illegal, but it's unethical.
Yeah, for
okay?
Sure.
It's unethical. Why would you want somebody who's not integral to oversee all 17 municipalities? Why would you want that?
It's illegal.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think it is still illegal to not
it's illegal?
to not live in your jurisdiction, right?
It is illegal. It is against the law. That's why he didn't come to court.
Right.
He would have purged himself.
Because I was there at that hearing and I wondered that too. I was like, wait, of all people, he's supposed to be this huge figure. Like, how could no one find him?
You can't find. He's on the run. He wasn't gonna be served.
Yeah, that was likely really crazy.
He was probably off Route 30 somewhere in the city hotel, chilling and watching TV.
But okay, and then I want to talk about the insurance. Right. They kind of framed it where it looked like he got a promotion.
Right.
But
yes, talk to us about that because the timing of that was also very interesting. How that was timed.
Well, for myself, going back to your initial question when you said about Thornton Township being predominantly Black and how to get those voters to see us as votable. As Richard, piggyback off Richard said, we all former Democrats. Let's start there. And we've all been victimized by the Democratic Party in some way, shape, or form.
Well, that's new. Now, we have not heard that story before. Okay, so tell us more about that.
I like it.
I mean, just look around at the community. We are in Thornton Township is a Democratic stronghold. who else can you put this on beside a
Oh.
Democrat? They've been in power from the township to the municipalities. So that's why I say a victim of the Democratic Party, because no resources have come back to Dalton. I've been in Dalton for 5 years and I've seen everything dwindle instead of get better. So for the voters that look like myself and that's on the fence, don't be scared of change, because I'm trying something new. And I feel myself, I didn't have anything to lose because the Democratic Party already took everything. So I might as well get over here and try to get something back from somewhere, regardless. And I don't do identity politics. I do policy. I do people over politics. I don't do Democrat, Republican. That's not so much my thing. It's unfortunate that we have to run under this two-party system and it's not a serious third option. But being that it is what it is, we're going to play this game so we can try to help ourselves in this community. So my people who saying, oh, I'm a Democrat and I've been a Democrat forever, step out your house. Step outside.
That's a good argument.
Is it working?
That's a good
Is it
argument.
working out for you? Republicans haven't did this.
This madness.
Stay there. I think, I hate to say it, but just stay right there. Live right there. That's where you live, right there. This is in the pocket. This is the pocket. Stay right in here and keep driving that point home. What have you gotten? What has it benefited you? What has it wrought you? Your taxes are doing what? I think that's a good argument. Because then it'll drive people to look at the policies, because I believe that's what you want people to do. You want people to look at the policies. You want people to look at your platform. And I think stay there, man. Stay there. I don't think they are, but they got a few minutes left.
And you got more elected Democrats and African Americans in the state of Illinois than any other state.
So we just have to get serious about the policy now, not the celebrity, not because you went to college and you went to high school with a person 25 years ago.
Hey.
Yeah, that was 25 years ago. In 2025, we struggling in certain communities that is really hurting, really need economic development, really need resources and jobs. And I'm talking about urgent. And under Democrats, everything has been taken. Let's say, why everybody's saying Republicans going to take everything away. Look around. Look around.
I mean, that's a good argument.
In the state of Illinois, in the South Suburban Corridor.
And we are property taxpayers.
Right.
So that is hurting us as well. This is another reason why we are running.
So it's almost like what you're describing is that Cook County might as well be its own thing when it comes to parties, especially Democrat and Republican, in that, you know, it's one party rule in the county for the most part. It's been that way for a long time. So you're saying, hey, vote for us as Republicans, not because we're Republicans, but it's something different to challenge the one-party system.
Yes, that's the only way you can make people uncomfortable, is to step outside of your comfort zone. And we've been voting Democrat for so long that they don't even come out and campaign to us anymore for real. They just say they know, hey, we got their vote. We don't have to get them anything. We don't have to go out and speak to them. We know this. So going off what you're saying,
I mean, he's not lying.
It is.
Sorry.
You have to pick your poison and you have to step out of that comfort zone and say, no, let's make them uncomfortable. Let's let them know that they work for us. I think they've kind of forgotten that I call them dinosaurs. They so comfortable where they are. They just saying, no, we're going to tell them what they need instead of us going to them and telling them what we want. Now it would turn completely to a dictatorship where everyone say is such a Republican. It's a Republican stigma of dictators. But look around. This dictatorship is happening in real time under Democratic rule. Doors has been locked to townships and different municipalities. People has been arrested in different municipalities. Let's make it make sense. This is a dictatorship. This is not a democracy that we're living under right now under Democratic rule. So this is why we are getting active. This is why we are active, and because we want to challenge the system.
And we want to commend all of the the good
Okay.
Democrats
Mm-hmm.
that's fighting the bad Democrats. We want to commend the good independence party that's fighting the bad independents. So in each group and organization, sometimes we have some issues that we got to straighten out in-house, because there are Democrats that are fighting, hey, this is not right. We're not going for this. Independents, we don't like that. We're going to go over this side and vote for this particular party. But the main thing is we want all the good people to come together. And that's where the Thornton Township Democratic Organization plays a pivotal role in bringing the good people together.
I don't
and
like
let us
that.
come together, family and as a whole, and let us make a huge difference.
Mm.
So that's pretty much our position. Jim?
Yeah, so
Okay, I got to say, I'm not a fan of this come together kumbaya club situation. I do want him to unpack that a little bit more, but I don't like that idea.
if you look at the current representation of elected officials across Thornton Township, they're 100% Democrats. And it's been
I mean,
that way
that's true.
a while.
Yeah.
So what I like to say to people who have comfort, I understand, relationships, getting comfortable voting Democratic. I understand all that. But what I like to say to people is, how's that been working out for you? When you look at the landscape of Thornton Township, we've been represented 100% by Democrats for the last, 30 years.
Right.
How's it working out?
And
Look
it
around
seems
your
like
communities.
I would say whenever I've seen new voices try to emerge within the Democratic Party, you see just tremendous efforts to silence people.
Yeah.
So
even within
is
themselves.
that a part of maybe why some of you have decided to work with the Republican Party? Because certainly for me, I'm still a registered Democrat, although I'm much more independent minded. But just in Illinois, you have to you have to pick one party if you're going to vote in primaries. That's just how Illinois is. We don't have open primaries, but yes, even for me as a reformer, I've been to Cook County meetings and Harvey meetings and all these different meetings. And like you said, I've been arrested and harassed. So it's reformers are not, at least in Cook County, are definitely not welcome within the Democratic Party at all. The machine, as they call it, is still quite strong. And, it sounds like you're proposing to the voters, this is one way to challenge the machine. Is that right?
We're going to challenge. Well, go ahead. We all come from that background, so I don't know why there's a conservative effort to put us against one another.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. King, his family
Oh, no.
were Republican. One of the great orators was a Republican. Dr. King, I have a dream. The Poor People's Campaign. He was wise enough to put aside any differences that divided us, but he accentuated the thing to bring us together as a family and as a whole. We have the spirit of Dr. King. We want to unify. We want to come together. We're not going to allow to be divided by titles, because titles do not define us. It's policy, it's ordinances that's going to propel and make the Thornton Township a better place. None of my candidates that's running against me are talking about policy. They're talking about coming together with the Republicans and independents, because their mindset have not matured and have grown. A good leader brings different factions together. And let me just say this. When I was on the Thornton Township board, excuse me, not Thornton Township, when I was on the school board for School District 133.
Where is that?
I was the vice president for the school board, School District 133 over in Riverdale.
Riverdale, okay.
Right. So I was the vice president. And at that time, I was working with the Ministers Conference, and I was going down to the county, and I was involved in a mentoring program. And so I wanted to have safety night where everybody in the community can come together under one umbrella. When I went to the board, we don't want that. You got different gang affiliations. It could be problematic. We don't need any issue. I said, well, let me get my people together in the streets and let us see if we can make this happen. Got back to them. I said, okay, we're going to give you Thursday. We're going to expand it. We would have 200 boys, young men in that gym, various different communities and gang affiliation. They didn't have any problem, no fights, because I talked to them like I'm talking to you. We're not having it. That's not going to go down. But what I'm trying to focus in, it comes on to leadership. I was able to bring multiple gangs under one umbrella and not one fight. Napoleon Harris had never been in that kind of environment. He don't know how to move in that kind of circle. But I do, because I'm from that cloth. So when I was able to bring those, the safety night, the program ran for several years. The Riverdale called me and said, listen, come down to the board meeting. They gave me a resolution thanking me for community night because it was just overwhelmingly successful. But it comes down to leadership. A man that could think, a man that can negotiate, a man can bring everybody to the table and make it a win-win situation. That's what you call a good negotiator. Thank you.
That's good. That's another good background story for you. Yes, I wanted to say, thank you, Paula Chickens and Dear Will Christian. Hello, hello.
Hey, it's me.
Let's talk about financial transparency. Like we said, it's overused, but I like that Tim gave a great example when he said, what about this software that you can employ, any board, public board could use, and so people could see where the money is going in real time. Could you tell us about that, and if that's something that the
That would be
township could do?
crazy.
Yeah, so there's a certain software that you can link up with your checking account, and you can put a government's checking account online in real time. And I think that's a real possibility that we could accomplish that. I think there's some certain things financially that have to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
I think maybe everybody would agree with that.
And I noticed you have that on your platform, conduct a forensic audit.
Yeah, independent forensic audit. Somebody who's hasn't been looking at these numbers for 15 years. Somebody who's a little bit fresh eyes on this stuff, and get it figured out, straightened out, and get the township finances back in order, and at that point, put it all out there. It's not. We don't have to hide behind anything. It's taxpayers' money. They need to know where it's going.
Oh, and Cindy says, now that would be transparency. That's what I thought too, Cynthia.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too when I heard that. So
We actually almost didn't want to use the word transparency on our platform because the word in itself has become a little politicized over the years, but we mean it.
But I love that example because it was something so practical that you can
very
actually see
practical.
it. So instead of just saying the word, like here's an example. It's in real time. Because to me, if you want to steal money, that's the last thing you want to do. No, we couldn't do that because it's too expensive, it's too difficult, you're going to hear a whole bunch of excuses. So that I said immediately, as an independent, transparency-minded person, I loved that. You did mention as well, hire a procurement officer, internal audit, law and loss prevention manager. Anything else just about the finances? Because at the end of the day, that's what's really shocked so many people about the abuse of money. How could you fix that?
Yeah, well, the procurement and loss prevention is basically just another level of accountability.
Right.
Just so that,
Of oversight.
it's oversight.
Because that's one of the things that we really didn't have, with the current administration. We have had reckless spending, spending outside of the budget. And even though, the current supervisor would, spend the money, the trustees also allowed it. They also allowed it. So we're currently in a deficit. All right. So with that independent audit, it's going to take time to find those holes. So it won't be overnight, but we'll definitely find them. And then with the procurement officer, with having those people in place or implemented, they're going to be the oversight to ensure that we don't overspend, that everybody is being held accountable for the spending that's happening within the township.
And just to add to what she's saying, let me go back to what Tim was saying. He talked about having an audit. So we're going to have an audit. The board is going to approve that on day one. We're also going to have a particular law firm that works in conjunction with the audit, because there's certain things that have to be done that they look for. So we're going to be bringing a particular law firm in to work in conjunction with.
Would you want to tell us?
No, I'm not saying. We haven't chosen anyone. I'm just saying if you're going to have an audit, you have to look at their background.
But safe to say, you're not going to use an auditing firm or a legal firm that is currently used by the township. Is that?
I agree with what Tim said. We need to have maybe fresh eyes. That's something that we'll look at.
Okay.
We're going to look at fresh law firms that have a treasury department that we can kind of focus on. So if we bring the audit, the professional audit, the agency, we bring in the law firm to make sure things is done above board. Then we have Keisha Richardson. Her background is in corporate finance. She's going to be involved and engaged. Why is she important? You got to have somebody that's a part of the team that could match those numbers, that can go head to head with the finance director, to go head to head with the budget, to be able to look at the schematics of the budget and be able to identify the different codes. I don't have those skills, but she does. So it's teamwork that makes the dream work.
I knew it was a
Now let me talk about the procurement officer. The procurement officer main focus is to make sure that he distributes credit cards to department head. That's the procurement officer. So each department head will get a credit card, but they have to get approval for large items through the procurement officer. He also handles RFQs. He also deals with inventory. He also deals with anything that's coming in and out of the municipality. A certified procurement officer, that position is not being held at this time, certified. He's held accountable. Now, so when it comes to the budget, as far as dealing with the credit cards, they have to go to him. It doesn't go to the supervisor. It goes to the procurement officer.
I was going to ask you if you were going to, if you would allow credit cards. You would allow them, but you said that there would be a limit on what department heads could spend on the cards.
Of course.
And then beyond, like, is there a number that you have in mind, like for a limit for each purchase or for an amount over a period of time?
Well, normally they probably have vendors that they have dealt with. So once we look at the number that what they normally spend, then that would be probably pretty much their budget.
Okay.
So if you spend $5,000 a month and you've been doing that for the last 4 years, then we would continue that budget. Now,
and anything over that has to go to the procurement
officer. He has to sign off on it. That is his job. That is his function, is to manage the credit cards and finances in those particular.
And then the board is supposed to be overseeing all that.
Right. The board's going to oversee. So, and also RFQs is dealing with any kind of bidding process. That's his role and that's his function. My good friend William Moore, he was the procurement officer for the county. So I'm familiar with that job and how it functions. Number 2, you have to have a corporate law.
Is that the same one is that the Dalton meetings?
No, that's not him. That's the William Moore, the attorney out of Markham.
I just wanted to clarify.
He was at the Thornton, the Cook County.
Township meeting.
Right.
Oh, okay.
No, not him. Oh, Lord, please.
That's what I was going to say, because people will catch that name and they'll be like,
right. No, not that way. So we talked about the procurement officer. Then we talked about the corporate loss prevention manager. The corporate loss prevention manager that's on the back of the platform. His job is to look for corporate theft. His job is to look for any kind of a waste. His job is to look for abuse of credit cards. His job is to look for people using gas, stealing inventory. So his job is to be the policing agent for the Thornton Township. You got a huge organization, but you have no policing agency ingrained in the structure. So we're going to bring on the procurement officer, number 1, and number 2, we're going to bring in the corporate loss prevention manager. And so they will work in conjunction. So he'll look and say, okay, you know what, something's not right here, procurement officer. How much? Why was this spent so much? You know what? I don't like this way it's looking. I'm going to shut that department down till we get to the meat and the bones. He will have that authority. You have to bring competent people to be able to move the township forward. So there's a lot of things we got to do to get the train back on the track.
Cynthia wants to ask, would salaries be reevaluated?
I think a salary study would be in order for sure. Yeah, it's I don't think there's been any rhyme or reason to salaries as of late. So I think a salary study.
They should all be volunteers
to help right the ship there.
Right. especially the supervisor salary. I mean, is there a reason why we need a supervisor that makes 6 figures for a salary? I really don't understand that. A lot of the taxpayers are really upset about that from what I've seen on
Yeah,
online
so
comments.
that was according to a previous ordinance that was passed in, I believe, 2020. But like according to that ordinance, a newly elected supervisor salary would reset to around 39,000 or something. I forget what the actual number is, but
And I would be curious to see how all of these salaries compare to other townships. You know, like I doubt that Bremen and some of the other townships pay that much. It seems like this is something that people got used to under the Zuccarelli days, where money was just spent very, very freely.
Yeah, and I would encourage the salary study to include all the elected officials to help right the ship financially.
Well, I think that the system that they had, that it was based on increases. Salaries were not all stable. So that would be something that we would have to get with, get with the attorneys and see, what is the legal aspect of it. If you're doing a job, you should get the same pay.
I don't like this thought
But you have
process here.
stagnant salaries based on your tenure. So he might have been here a year, and I might have been there 4 years, but our salary are different, but we're doing the same job. You got to have consistency across the board. Either we're going.
I don't think that doesn't make sense. I don't think he's thinking about what he's saying. If I just came on new and you've been there for 5 years, I would hope that you've worked and you've gotten some pay increases and shown yourself to be valuable so that you are making more. Like, I don't think he thought about that one fully.
Go the low end, the medium end, or the high end. So we really got to get into the laws and get into what is appropriate, and that we can feed the people the correct information.
Oh, not feed the
Because
people.
if we
Oh,
both
no.
digging ditches. Why am I getting less than him and we doing the same job? So these are some of the things that we're going to be able to address, and we're going to correct that, definitely.
All right, so do we have any other questions? Because we do have to lock up this building at 5, and it's 5:07.
I know. I'm like, I feel like we're just
That we just started,
cracking
Ryan.
the tip of the iceberg,
Been
right?
over an hour.
No, you guys are doing great. Yeah, thank you. Dear Well
It's good.
Christian
We're
says
just
that too. They said this is a great conversation. Okay, thank you. No, I think we talked about that. The finances, the core programs, the patronage. Yeah, I don't know. I guess.
Okay. Has one other thing.
Sure.
One
Yeah, go ahead,
last
David.
thing. If we get elected as your legislative body, outside of a procurement officer and corporate offices and things of that nature, we're gonna make sure that we don't let any more reckless spending, that we don't vote and okay any more craziness. So outside of all the things that we want to implement, us as a legislative body for Thornton Township will not allow these things to keep on happening. Because like we all said before, we are taxpaying citizens of Thornton Township. So outside of everything that we've all said, just look at us as individuals and saying that we are tired of the waste and we're not going to stand for it anymore as well.
Right.
That's good.
All right, everyone. I hope that we answered you all's questions. We are the people's choice for
Can I ask you
change.
one more?
Sure.
We got another one that came in. Cynthia says, are any of you on any public boards, basically? She said school or library, but any public board, share with us.
Yeah,
that
so
answer.
I'm a current school board member at Calvin Christian School. It's not public, but same arena. I'm also a planning and development commissioner at the Village of South Holland. And
Anybody else currently?
I was previously an economic development.
Or previous board? You can share previous board experience too if you want for public boards. Yeah, any public board experience.
Yeah, I was elected 2 terms for School District 133, Patton School. I served 2 terms. So I have the experience in Robert's Rules of Order. I know about the budget. I know about staffing. I know about union negotiation. You know, when you are elected official at that high level, you have to be involved and engaged. I also was a municipal official for 4 years for the Village of Dalton. sat on various different committees and commissions and worked with the fire and police and public works and the village administrator, finance department. So I got experience in all those areas. So we got a good team. We got different talents that we're all going to merge as one.
Excellent.
When is the
All
election?
right.
When is the election?
Yes, I was going to go over that.
She said,
Monday, March 17th through the 31st. Please go out and cast your vote. Your voice is important. It's very important. Election day is April 1st.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So vote, vote, vote. Remember, people, whoever you vote for, obviously our candidates want you to vote for them, but please
For sure.
educate yourself
Sure
and
they
please vote. This is so local politics affects all of our lives so much more than really anything else, and people don't realize that enough. So no, I think that's it. We could always talk more. Oh, actually, no,
We're all reachable on Facebook.
I do have one more quick question for Richard, since you came from Riverdale. You don't have to comment, but did you want to comment on the recent harassment of mayoral candidate Michael Earhart from the current mayor, Mayor Jackson in Riverdale, where the police were sent to stop him from distributing food to people that were hungry? You don't have to comment, but if you'd like to, since you have Riverdale experience.
I think you got people there that are very active. I've seen what I've seen on the video. It does raise some concern. So I try not to get too much involved in that situation. My mind is on the Thornton Township. March 17th to the 31st, come out to vote early. April 1st, we want to come
let me
out.
stay in my
That's
lane.
pretty much my main focus. Let me just say this. You got sideshows everywhere, all over the Thornton Township.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you,
bless
guys.
you. God bless America.
Thanks, everybody. Okay.
all right.
I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Okay, so that was the Republican Party, People's Choice for Change, did an open interview. I thought it was pretty good. Now, of course, there's lots of areas that we can nitpick and we can pull apart and pull on this thread and yank on this. But for the most part, I like that they sat down and talked. I do think they have some pretty decent ideas. I want to see and hear, as I told you earlier, I want to hear how they're going to play out some of them, but let's just give them the opportunity. So we'll see what happens. Tomorrow is election day. I'm sorry, early voting starts tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to, maybe we can get them on. That'd be great to have a conversation with them. But I do want to say thank you to the members of this channel. This was a members only live stream because you all have supported the channel and helped the channel grow. So thank you so very much for helping the channel, helping me, whether it be watching these live streams, engaging in the chats, becoming a member, all that kind of good stuff, and of course, subscribing. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to rock with you all again real soon. Matter of fact, I got another live stream in 45 minutes. So I'll see you all real soon. Grace and peace.